All right, everyone. We are back now, and I have a I'm really pleased to bring to you a special interview. Um, right now, I have with you great content creator Tommy G. Um, for those of you who don't know, this man is phenomenal with his work on Giants content. I mean, he hits it from all angles. He's very knowledgeable. Now I know I'm smart, but this man is definitely probably exceeds me with some of the Giants content information. So,
Yeah, you gassing
um,
me up right off the bat. Damn.
nah, but it's true, man. It's true.
Thank
It's
you.
true. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're welcoming Tommy G to the show. How you doing today, Tommy?
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate the intro. You already know how I feel about you.
Hmm.
Phenomenal show, The Amazing World of Sports. You do an unbelievable job. The cerebral approach you take to content, the deep detailed dives you do. Always been a fan of your stuff. And you know what? You always been a supporter of mine. I see you in my live chats. I see you in my comments.
Hmm.
So you mean the world to me. Same way, same things you just said about me. Same way I feel about you and your
Thank
show.
you.
So this is a pleasure for me to be on and chop it up with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, let's get right to it. So, um, when did you first get involved in sports, and what sports were you? What sports were they? Like football, basketball, soccer? I mean, what sports?
Yeah. Also, before we get into it, this is a great format. You have so many shows. It's just like Giants, football,
Mm-hmm.
football. But it's the
Mm-hmm.
off season. Let's get to know
Mm-hmm.
each other better. Let's get to know these
Mm-hmm.
creators better. So I love this format. And then
Thanks.
before I started, too, my apologies. I want to say rest in peace, Jeff. Solid dude. I didn't get really a chance to go on camera and say that he was an amazing
Mm-hmm.
individual. When I first started doing content YouTube, he reached out to me. He gave me some tips, some pointers. I wanted to say
Mm.
rest in peace to a solid dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. So yeah, Jeff is definitely one of those ones who always there for everyone. So definitely.
Absolutely.
So
All
all
right,
right.
so now we got that out the way. Believe it or not, Coach, my first love was basketball. Right, so
Okay.
growing up, I was a big Michael Jordan fan, which
Mm.
I shouldn't really say that because I'm a Knicks fan, but I was a Jordan fan. Listen, you gotta give me a little bit of grace. I was only 10, 11 years old.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? I had the Jordans, I had the Gatorade, I had the Jordan
Mm-hmm.
ball. It was all white. So, around that age, I really got into basketball. The '92 Olympics, the Dream Team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As I got a little bit older, kids in the neighborhood started playing football. I grew up in the projects in Coney Island, so we played a little two
Mm-hmm.
hand touch. As we got a
Mm-hmm.
little older, 15, 16, we got into tackle football on the grass. But really, it was basketball. And then it
Mm-hmm.
kind of like translated into football. But I
Mm-hmm.
still have both of those are still my heart. But I keep both of them even. I know I do more of the football content, but I love basketball too. But it did start with basketball, and it did start with Michael Jordan getting me into
Listen to me. I know most people, most Knicks fans won't admit it, but yeah, deep down inside, when Jordan
it.
before he became Jordan, had an appreciation for his games. I mean, don't forget the Spike Lee where with him and Spike doing the commercial.
Absolutely.
So I get. And then when he was down in Carolina, I know a lot of Knicks fans that have been Carolina fans, and they was rooting for him. So trust me, you're
Well,
not
listen.
doing.
Whenever
Yeah.
he played the Knicks, I wasn't a Jordan fan. I just want to put it out there because
Mm-hmm.
I know Knicks fans finna roast me when this airs. Whenever it was Bulls versus Knicks, it was all out Knicks. No love for the Bulls, but I got to thank MJ. Those '92 Olympics. I was
Mm-hmm.
10 years old. That really
Mm-hmm.
got my sports going. Before that, I wasn't really into sports that much. That really kicked me into gear. And I'm gonna just be
Mm-hmm.
honest on your show tonight. Give you honest answers straight across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's good. That's the one thing that I appreciate about you. You're genuine, you're honest, and that's why I can relate to you and I can connect with you. So
appreciate you.
so that's what it is. So basketball, I get it. You're a Knicks fan. That's a beautiful thing. And I guess in a sense, it was to a certain extent Michael Jordan who got you started with sports.
Yeah,
So,
man. Yep.
mm. Did you play any sports like organized sports though yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, when we got to like 14, 15, me and the kids in the neighborhood started playing football, two hand touch. Then we got into tackle. So once I got to high school, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, I really want to play football. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
was never the strongest, the fastest, the biggest. So when I tried out for high school football freshman year, I didn't make the team. all that made me do was work harder in that off season.
Mm-hmm.
I hung around the team, even though I wasn't on the team. I went to the events. We played basketball together, and I really fought to get on the team. And finally, my sophomore year of high school, I made it onto the JV football team, and that's what really got me kickstarted. Really got my love of football going because I got firsthand knowledge of the game. I wasn't the best. I'm not going to sit here and say I was an all-star or anything like that, but it really kicked up my knowledge of the game, love of the game, the passion. All those triggers that really get the love going for you.
What position did you play?
Left guard.
Okay.
And a little bit of center. I played a little bit of center, but I like left guard better.
Hey, look, I played minor league semi-pro. Let me rephrase it. When I went out for youth football, they put me at center, but eventually I couldn't because I was too big, so I couldn't play. But when I did minor league semi-pro, I played center. So to be honest with you, I loved it. I love all 5 spots on the offensive line, but center the most because you're the captain. You're the controlling factor in the whole offense. Nobody can move until you snap that ball. So
that's a good point.
So but I understand. But left guard, so you understand about Bredesen and Azudu very well.
Absolutely. And it's been torturous the last decade watching these Giants offensive lines. I know it's not a Giants show, but as somebody, it's the same thing with you. When you know the game and you know what it's supposed to look like, you know what good is supposed to look like. Not that we were necessarily good or great ourselves, but we know what it's supposed to look like. So it's been a tough decade watching that Giants O-line, but I damn sure couldn't help it.
So who was your biggest influence in terms of football?
That's a good one in terms of football. Let's see. So growing up, it's an interesting story. How I got into football is my mother used to have a friend that came over, a gentleman friend. He was a good friend of hers, good friend of the family. He was a Jets fan. So I was probably like 11, 12 years old. I would watch the Jets game with him. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have any interest in it. But, locally, we didn't have cable or anything like that. The Giants would come on, and I would watch the Giants, and I would say, damn, look at that blue uniform. That's a nice uniform. Watch the games. Guess who I would see? Lawrence Taylor. And I'd be like, who the hell is this dude? Like, why is he so much faster than everybody else? Why is he so much stronger? Why is he always around the ball? And once I seen Lawrence Taylor play, man, that really jump started me for football because I was like, wow, like you could really play the game at that elite level where it looks like you shouldn't even be on the field with the rest of those players. You should be on a better field, a higher field. So Lawrence Taylor, Phil Simms, kind of that era. Unfortunately, right when I started watching football, it was kind of the end of their era. You had that bad blowout loss to the Niners. I think the score was like 49-3 or something like that. And Ricky Waters made me cry. He had like 6 touchdown runs in that game. But I would say Lawrence Taylor really showed me that, damn, not only is this a great sport, but there's a lot of intricacies to how great you can be.
You want to hear something funny too? You just mentioned Ricky Waters, right?
I shouldn't have mentioned it.
No. But here's the thing. Low key, I love Ricky Waters. And here's the reason why. He played at Notre Dame. In the 70s, I was a big Notre Dame fan. Going into the 80s, I mean, before I transitioned, Rutgers eventually became number one. But, when you had that era with Raheem Ismail, Rocket Ismail, Raheem Ismail. I get him and his brother mixed up sometimes.
Right.
Tony Rice was the quarterback. Jerome going into Jerome, but Ricky Waters was he was that dude.
Nasty, man. Nasty.
Yes, and I hated when he went to the Eagles. I dealt when he was with the 49ers. I could deal with it, even though they were a rival. But when he went to the Eagles, oh my God,
that was tough, man.
That was tough, man. So. You said Ricky. Oh man, that just was like, yeah.
You remember that game, right? Giants lost.
Yes.
I don't know if he had 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. I lost count, man, but he had a lot of touchdowns that game.
Did he have 5?
I think it was 5.
I have to go back and look. Okay.
6 might be a little OD. I might be exaggerating with 6, but he had a lot.
No, I got you. He had a lot. That was the point. So I got you. So okay.
So that was my kickstart. That was watching Lawrence Taylor, that was my inspiration back then.
Did you play any defense in high school?
No, just offense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically, just a quick story. I went to Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, New York. Stephon Marbury, Sebastian
Mm-hmm.
Telfair. It's a
Mm-hmm.
basketball school. It's not really a football school. And I don't want to knock my Rail Splitters, but not the best football team. But at that point, they were really good. They were coming off a 9-1 season. Me personally, I didn't come up playing football. I didn't do Pee Wee football. I didn't do any of that stuff. So I was always kind of behind the 8 ball. So I put everything into the offensive side of the ball. I played a little bit of special teams, of course, but never defense.
Mm-hmm.
I was just focused on offense.
Okay, no, and that's fine. I got you because in college I played defense, strictly defense, and a little special team.
What college did you go to?
King College back then. Now it's King University.
Where's that at?
In Union, New Jersey. It's where I'm at now. It's probably 15 minutes from me. It's in Union County, right next door. If you know Elizabeth, New Jersey, it's right next door. So
damn. Okay.
And here's the funny thing, because I was on field goal, extra point, played left guard. So I got you.
That's why we linked. That's why we got the same mind frame, man.
Exactly. So, how far in high school did you go? Did you play all the way to your senior year, or was it just your sophomore?
Yeah.
Okay.
So made the team, like I said, sophomore year, freshman year, I didn't make it. They had a great offensive line. They had a great JV team. Seniors were amazing. So sophomore year, I made it. I played JV my whole sophomore year. Junior year, I was started on JV. Halfway through the year, got called up. That's kind of how we did it. So halfway through the year, call up the good JV players. The team was in the playoffs, so they didn't really want to put the starters on special teams. So I played some special team snaps, and I'll never forget those first couple games playing in varsity, man. You know how you hear the college players when they get to the NFL, and they're like, the speed is crazy. I remember being out there on varsity, like, damn, these are some grown ass men out here. But so then senior year, I started varsity. I started all 10 games, and it was a great experience. Like I said, I was never the best football player, but I was cerebral. I didn't make mistakes. Teaching and coaching was big for me. So I had, a junior coming up that ended up being all city after me. So I was really proud to have helped him, mentor him and get him in that spot. And he was nipping at my heels, man. He was nipping, but thankfully I started the senior year, and then that was it. Didn't get any offers, unfortunately. And, I did 2 years community college and, kind of got into my career after that.
Okay. You ever play any minor league semi-pro,
No, I was close to playing semi-pro. So when I got out of high school, I started, and nobody knows this story, but I actually started rapping and had a record deal. Yeah, I had a record deal when I got out of high school, me and my best friend, and we would do music. That was our lives. Like before we went to college, there was like 2 years where we would just go to studios. We would go to Quad Studios in Manhattan. Quad Studios famous for where Tupac got shot at and that whole thing. We would go there. We would hang out with like Fat Joe, Big Pun. So that was kind of like my life went from like high school football to rapping. But after like 2-3 years, things changed. I had my son. My best friend ended up moving. He got more into his faith of being Muslim. He ended up moving very, very far away. So then, I kind of settled down, got my career. So I never got into the semi-pro. But my heart always stayed in football. My mind always stayed in football. The body didn't.
No, I got you. So have you ever thought about coaching?
Yeah, my son just graduated high school. He played all 4 years, and I always think about it. I always think about coaching. I always think about going back. The part would be where do I find time, right? With my career and stuff with the content coming about, and it's time consuming. I'll be honest with the audience. If you're gonna do content, right, or you're gonna do analysis, like you got to do it the right way. You never want to put stuff out there and people hear it and they go talk to their friends and they look stupid because you told them something wrong, or you told them something that wasn't correct. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of passion and energy. So right now I'm just focused on the content, obviously my career outside of that, and really finding a balance to both, because it's tough to balance. Like, you worked with me this week. I had to reschedule a couple of times. Like I was on vacation. I came back. I was with my mom. So, that's really my focus right now. But I will say my son has been offered to go back and coach at his high school. So, maybe I could vicariously live through him a little bit.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I understand. And look, you have your priorities, and that's the one thing I respect, because if you go into coaching, whether it's high school, whether it's, kids, you got to be able to give them the attention that
Great
they
point.
deserve. Because
Mhm.
I understand. I did youth football 25 years, and the
Wow.
hardest thing to do was to walk away. But things were changing in my life, and I didn't want to be a part timer. So I understood. So I respect that. So definitely. So with your playing, what do you feel is your greatest accomplishment? Like, did you guys win a championship, going to the playoff? I mean, what did you win any awards for your school? I mean, for your team? I mean, what was your personal greatest accomplishment?
I mean, to be honest, um, not to dumb it down, but for me personally, starting varsity that last year, just from where I came up from, I was
Hmm.
always a very heavy set kid when I was younger. I didn't get a jump on sports, never played pee wee. Even my freshman year when I went into the high school, I had no thoughts of playing football, but my best friend tried out and he made the team. So I was like, all right, I'll try out. So starting those 10 games in varsity and being an integral part of the team, and we did make the playoffs. We lost, unfortunately, in the first round to Wagner, which was our
Hmm.
arch nemesis. But
Hmm.
honestly, coach, that was my big achievement, man. Just being out there, and my teammates, the other players, seeing me come up and work hard, and from freshman year where I was just a big bull, I was fat, I didn't have nothing
Hmm.
to offer to the team. They were like, "Damn, you really gonna try out?" To actually sticking around, working with them in the off season, even when I
Hmm.
wasn't a member of the team, and I had no guarantee of being a member of the team, but I stuck around them. I helped out. I carried bags. I carried shoulder pads.
Hmm.
I helped them get on the bus. We would work outs in the gym. I'd grab the Gatorade, whatever I could do. And I guess for me, it was to feel I was a part of the team before I was. So they respected that. And just that moment, obviously senior night. I don't want to leave out senior night. That's an amazing moment. So
Hmm.
I would say that would be the biggest accomplishments.
How many varsity letters do you have then?
Oh, it's a good question. Trying to remember. It's a long time ago now. Yeah, I might have to get back to you on that one. I have
No
to.
problem. No
It's
problem.
been
No
it's been
problem.
about it's been a good 20 years. So
No, I understand.
how
I
many you
understand.
have?
I got my two varsity letters, but it's all straight in college. I never played high school, so
Wow,
yeah, I did.
really?
No, in high school I was coaching, so I was coaching
Get
youth
out of here. That's
football.
interesting, man.
I had a mother who, that's my baby. You not playing football? I'm like, come on, ma. I'm one of the biggest guys. I play in the streets with everyone. It's like I'm already out there playing with them. But she's from the island, so she really didn't understand football. So, and I give it to her. I
Right.
understand. So, so my dad though, he was a military guy. He wasn't around because he said if he was around, I would have been playing. So,
Facts. Yeah. Oh yeah.
but hey, as soon as I got out of high school and I could make my own decisions, what I do in college, I went and played. So
That's awesome. That's a very unique story, man. That
yeah.
that says a lot about you, your character, your discipline to football. Because most people, if they don't play in high school, they ain't really touching it when they get out of college. So that says a lot about you.
Well, the thing about it though is I grew up in the '70s, and my dad is he's a Steelers fan. He's a big Steelers fan. So I grew up knowing the Steelers in the '70s,
Can't be mad at
and
that, dude.
the thing about it is when he used to sit me down, and by the time I was 10, I could sit and I could tell him who was getting the ball. I could say Rocky Blyer's getting the ball, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, Cunningham, the tight end is getting the
Damn,
football.
at 10 years old.
Because I used to pay attention, number one, to down and distance. I'm a
Right.
big proponent of down and distance. Sometimes a formation, what if they were motioning, what they were doing, and sometimes it was just like some of the releases, just little things like that. I could pay. I picked up on that, so I would
Damn.
say I was at that age. I was about like 40 to 50% accurate. So, and
Wow.
then that's where my love for the game and my
Hey,
analytical approach developed. So that's why when I couldn't play, I coached. And I had a great mentor. Coach Palmer. He really took me under his wing, and the rest is history. So,
absolutely, man.
so let's do a little transitioning from your playing and now with your
Sure.
YouTubing. What got you started with your YouTubing?
Oh boy. I think you just kind of touched on it. I think once you have that love and that passion for football, it never goes away, right? There's always a different avenue, a different vessel to go back to football, and I think
Mhm.
this was mine, Coach. And it's weird how it happened. I had a Twitter account, right? It was my son's
Mhm.
Twitter account. He would use it, talk about Madden stuff like that,
Mhm.
young kid stuff, and he stopped using it. So one day he was like, "Why don't you use my Twitter? Why don't you talk Giants?" Like, because me and him we would watch the game, we would talk about
Mhm.
strategy, we would talk about personnel, formations, and he'd be like, "You always talk about football." He's like, "But you don't have nowhere to talk to anybody about it." He's like, "Why don't you use my Twitter? Delete it. Start on Twitter." So I did that. That was probably like 4 years ago, and for I would say 2 years, I would tweet sporadically every now and then during
Mhm.
the games, maybe a little bit after the games. And then about 2 years ago, I really started getting into it. And I said to myself, you know what? You love to do this. You love talking Giants. You love talking football. You never really got that finish in football. You never really got that, how do you say, like that fulfillment? Like it kind of like
Mhm.
ended
Mhm.
abruptly for me.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I said, I'm going to start tweeting, but I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do research. I'm going to talk about strategy. I'm going to put thought process behind these tweets. I'm going to pose questions. I'm going to give opinions. I'm not going to do hot takes and these takes that are here today, gone tomorrow. People delete them when they're wrong. I want to talk real football, right? So I
Mhm.
started tweeting a lot. And this is kind of around the time Daniel Jones, this is like at the end of his first year, second year, and
Mhm. Mhm.
the whole debate gave birth. And I was really big into that. And I got to be honest, Daniel Jones, that whole debate, that whole conversation really kind of propelled me into the spotlight at first for me to get a voice to put me out there, because when you have some of these tweets that blow up, so to call it, and they get 1,000 likes, they get 100 comments, you know the feeling is fleeting, but you may get 20 followers out of that. You may get 10
Mhm.
followers from that. So
Mhm.
little by little, I kind of seen, what, if I want to get my audience up, there's a certain way to do it. And I did it by standing firm. This is my opinion. This is what I think.
Mhm.
I'm a
Mhm.
Giants
Mhm.
fan. And little by little, I started getting myself out there. I think I went from 300 followers to like 6,000 in a year.
Mm.
But this was the thing. I never could have actually accomplished this without support from
Mhm.
the community and some
Mhm.
specific
Mhm.
individuals out there that embraced me, because anybody could sit there and say, "Yeah, I did this. I don't owe nobody nothing. I made myself." Yeah, you definitely made yourself, but
Mhm.
you got to thank the ones who helped you get started. That's essential in any
Exactly.
business, even not
Mhm.
even business, personal business, whatever it is. There's people that always, everything you do, say, "Hey, grab my hand. Let me bring you a little bit further."
Mhm.
And I had blessings like that. I had a few individuals. Some of my friends with the Giant Zone. I want to shout them out. They started up a podcast a couple years ago. We used to talk
Mhm.
before that, like, "You're gonna get a podcast, I'm gonna get a podcast, how we want to do this." This is before I ever even showed my face to anybody. They end up doing the podcast first. They had me on there. I'll never forget. It was my first podcast ever, was 2 years ago, almost to the day. But
Mhm.
I was so nervous. Like, I couldn't tell you nothing what the show was about that day.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
nervous I was. The first time I was ever on there, right?
Mhm.
I want to shout them out. Then I started doing spaces, the Twitter spaces.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
what I would do is I wouldn't just go on there and talk. I would structure it. All right, this is what topic we're going to talk about right now. We're going to talk about this for 10 minutes. We're going to move on to the next topic. And I did the Twitter spaces probably for like 2 months. And Eli Vibes Rax, he's from the New York Revival crew.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
remember
Mhm.
he shouted me out one day, and it was like Michael Jordan shouting me out, like, because I looked up to him, like, he had
Mhm.
40,000, 30,000 followers, and positive dude, good content, but
Mhm.
positive, all about blessings. So when he had
Mhm.
tweeted out, like, "Shout out Tommy G," I was like, damn, like, like it came from the heavens. So he was one. Also New York Giants Rush. That was a
Mhm.
collective.
Mhm.
Craig, want to shout them out. Some good dudes over there. I was with them for a couple months. I did some writing for them. Was on a bunch of podcasts. Unfortunately, I didn't last long because Patricia Trainer reached out to me. Most know Patricia Trainer. She's a Giants beat
Mhm.
reporter.
Mhm.
She has her Locked On Giants show, and she also has Giants Country. That's a YouTube channel that she has and runs. And she asked me to be the lead podcaster.
Mhm.
So when she asked me that, I was just kind of stuck, because I was like, I've been doing this for a few months, and here comes somebody that like I knew way before doing content, like not personally, but I knew of her, I knew of her work, and it could be a little bit overwhelming. It could be like, all right, like, yeah, I'll say yes, I'm ready, I want to embrace it, but then it's time to get the work done. Then it's time to make the donuts. You know what I'm saying? But that was the biggest blessing for me because that, opened up my audience. That put me in a different spotlight. So that was kind of, I just wanted to shout those people out because, like I said, you always help the ones that help you get started. Essential. So those were some of the people that helped me get started, helped me in the game, and got me to where I am right now.
Wow, that's amazing, man. But that's great. That speaks to, number one, your character, your hard work, your dedication, the person you are. So that's phenomenal, man. And that's an amazing story. And you know what? I hope those who may be listening, who are thinking about getting into it, just get a little insight into, number one, what it takes to to be a content creator, and the to reap the benefits of their hard work. So you are definitely one. I must admit, because I have been following you, and you definitely on point, and I've watched you continuously grow. So
Thank you, brother.
much respect to you. So,
and that was a good point. Not to cut you off real quick. You brought up an amazing point. To anybody out there watching that wants to do content analysis, whatever, podcast, talk on the radio, whatever, write articles for a small newspaper, don't let nobody tell you can't do it. Don't let nobody tell you that tweets are not content. I heard a creator a couple months ago say tweeting is not content. BS. Because you know what? If you put thought behind it, you put structure behind it, you throw a little bit of strategy, you throw a little bit of your opinion in there, that is 100,000% content. And without Twitter, without tweeting, there will be no Tommy G. There will be no Tommy's Takes. That's what got my foot in the door. So however avenue you want to get to where you want to go, don't let nobody tell you can't do it. Just have passion, work hard, and stay focused.
Amen. And that is the most profound statement and advice that I have heard through this whole spirit, man. Thank you for that, man. I really appreciate, and I know the audience will appreciate hearing that.
They're gonna tell you that, coach. They're gonna tell you that. Nah, this ain't for you. Nah, you gotta do this for like 20 years before you could get into the game. Like, nah, you gotta start this straight out of college. Nah. Don't listen to none of that stuff. Focus on you, focus on the content, work with great people. Like I'm working with Coach Ed, amazing individual, knows the game. Work with people that'll help you get better. Work with people that you could take knowledge from and that you could work collectively with. There's so many amazing creators out there. And the best part about it is everybody has their own little lane. We don't have to all do. You have some people out there that do funny stuff like El Jefe, right? You have, like I said, Eli Vibes. He has the positive approach. You have someone like yourself that's analytical, cerebral. Everybody can have their own lane. So don't let nobody tell you, or don't let nobody veer you off into something you don't want to do. Sorry.
No, that's great, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, you have a good creative presentation with all of the works that you do. What drives your creative and informative approach?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I touched on it a little bit back. I take great pride in what I do. I take it serious. It's not something that I take lightly. Listen, we're never going to be 100% correct. There's always going to be times we make some mistakes. I tweeted out some personnel stuff the other day. I made a mistake. I was like, oh man. The reason behind that feeling is because you are happy when people enjoy your content. You are happy when people partake in it and conversate. So the last thing you want to do is put out something incorrect, put out something wrong. That's what drives me creatively to do so much research, to spend time researching, to work with other creators, pay attention to other creators, because the end game for us as creators is to give fans entertainment, to give them enjoyment, to give them knowledge, to give them perspective. So what drives me is not going out there unprepared, talking out of my side of my mouth, not knowing what I'm talking about. That's what really drives me. It's keeping the fans up to speed, keeping the fans knowledgeable, so they don't have to do the hours of research like we do. Just watch the show, watch Coach Ed's show, watch Tommy's Takes. You don't have to do all that stuff. So that drives me creatively. I don't want to put no wrong info, bad info out there. And like I said, I take this very serious. This is an honor to me. It's a privilege to sit in front of the camera, sit here with you, sit in front of Giants fans, and they partake in my thoughts. my creative process. That's an honor to me. So whenever you do something that's a privilege to you, you go 100%. You don't leave no stone unturned. That's what really drives me.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Now, with the works that you've been doing, you've been focused on the Giants.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you intend to cover any other sports?
Yeah, it's funny. I had did a show a couple weeks ago with a pretty big Yankees creator. I talk Yankees sometimes,
Hmm,
and we were just
okay.
chatting off the air. And he's like, I never understand why you only do Giants. And I said, well, what do you mean? That's I know the most about the Giants. That's most natural. He's like, yeah, but you have Giants fans. Giants fans love you. You have that. That's your natural ability. That's your natural lane. Why don't you talk more about football as a whole, the NFL? Why don't you branch out?
Hmm,
So that's really what I would love to do. But it also comes that part, and I'm sure you could agree with this, is where you're like, damn, I don't know if I know enough about every team, about the
mm-hmm,
NFL as a whole. I don't want to
mm-hmm.
go out there and say something stupid and lose some of my, integrity, or lose some of what people think about me. But that's where I would like to go, coach. I would like to talk more NFL, you know, um, just in general, whether it's free agency, preseason, the regular season games. I would love to do more NFL stuff outside of the Giants.
You know who was amazing at doing that was Jeff. Jeff
Absolutely.
Jeff knew everything about every team, a lot of players,
It was
but the one
ridiculous, dude. It was unbelievable.
exactly. But he told me, he said, "Coach, you just don't know how much I sit here and I just go through and I get alerts." He said that's the other thing. He gets alerts. He gets the NFL alerts. He gets Bleacher Reports, CBS. And I said, "So you and I are doing the same thing?" He said, "Yeah, coach." He's like, and then usually when I get those alerts, I do a little research and bam, he said that. So you can do it. You have that mindset. So I think you would be phenomenal if you did that, bro. So
Thank you,
seriously
brother.
consider that. Seriously, man, because I would love to see what your takes are on
Thank
some of
you.
the other teams that are out there. So
And shout out again to Jeff, the brother Jeff. Rest in peace, my brother.
exactly, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Now, when I watch your work, you have a strong journalistic approach. Are there any other aspects of sports that you are involved in? Whether it's marketing and team management, promotions, or is it just strictly right now you're YouTubing?
Yes, that's a great question too. You start to see the theme of my life here. Like when I went to play football, didn't
Hmm.
really know much, just kind of jumped in head first. Didn't have a lot of build up. Same thing when I did the music stuff, the rap stuff. Same thing with the content. When Patricia Trainer came and got me, she's like, "Okay, can you write articles?" I was like,
Hmm.
"No, but I could try." She's like, "Can you produce?" No, but I could try. Can you edit?
Hmm.
You get where I'm going with this, right?
Hmm.
So what she did was little by little, she would give me challenges. The first, I don't know, first 3, 4 months we did Tommy's takes. She did all the editing, production. She did all of that stuff. But this is, and I don't want to, gloss over anything, but this is one of the busiest people I have ever interacted with in Patricia.
Hmm.
She not only should be reporter for the Giants, she's Locked On Giants host, which is like 3 to 4
Hmm.
shows a week. Giants
Hmm.
Country. She has a full page, her Giants Country page. She has a team of writers, multiple. Coach Gene Clemens is on
Hmm.
Giants Country. This is one of the busiest, hardest working women I've ever met in my life. So I felt guilty having her do everything. So I said, give me something. Let me do a little bit. So she would say, okay, this week you're going to do the editing. This is the software you need. I'll show you one time how to do it. You do this. Then a month later, okay, now you're going to do the thumbnails. Now you're going to do this. So now when it comes to my show, I fully produce it. I fully edit it. I do all obviously the writing. So that's really the gist of everything I do now. Maybe and the marketing piece of it, obviously, I'm big on advertising the show, whether I
Hmm.
jump in, fan pages and advertise the show, online forums, whatever it is. That would kind of be the bulk of it. But I'm proud of that because a year ago today, I didn't know how to do anything. I couldn't produce the show. I couldn't edit the show. I didn't know. All I could do was get in front of the mic, hit record, and send it over to her. And she would have to do all that work on top of what she did. So
Hmm.
that's how I got to know a little bit more. And now we're in a spot where I record, I edit, produce, and I just send it over. She gives me the approval. Done deal.
Wow. She has definitely helped you grow as a content creator. So that's kudos to her. I mean, is there anyone else who you feel has helped you grow as a content creator? That's helped. I mean, has interacted with you in your works.
Yeah, like I said, obviously Pat's number one. I've been working with her
Hmm.
for a year straight. She is absolutely amazing. She is the strongest woman, the hardest working woman. You know, it's not always easy, right? You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
getting better. Listen, getting better. Let's be real. It's not always an easy, friendly, heartwarming process, right?
Hmm.
Especially when I'm down here as far as what I know, and she's been in the industry for 30 years. I got a
Hmm.
quick funny story. So on Giants Rush, they were a little more lax with the content. All right,
Hmm.
yeah, you want to write an article? We'll put it on the page. I had no idea what I was doing. So when she first reached out to me and she's like, "Can you write articles?" I said, "Yeah, I got a bunch of articles. I wrote an article about the Giants' best wins and the Giants' best players." She's like, "Okay, send it over to me. I'll take a look. I'll give it some edits and I'll send it back to you." So I sent it over to her and I didn't get it back for a couple of days. So I wrote her. I'm like, "Hey, what's good?" She's like, "I'm still making edits." And I'm like, "Oh, you just started?" She's like, "No, it's been taking a few days." And she
Wow.
goes, "I think it's better that you do YouTube." But she was real. I'm sorry, I'm staring off, but she
No,
was
that's fine.
real. She was real with me. She was honest. If I had to, think about anybody else out there, my brother Hit Squad. Shout out to
Hmm.
Hit Squad. That's my
Hmm.
brother. Creatively, we're always in sync. We've worked together numerous amount of times. He's a creative dude. He knows the other end of it, the production, the editing, the
Hmm.
music, the whatever it is. He's somebody that inspires me. We work together, inspire each other. And I would say probably the bigger, so to speak, creators, the entertainers, the talking giants,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Always inspired by them. I'm friendly with them. I have open relationship with them. I could DM them, message them. These are people that kind of keep me on my toes, and I say, okay,
Hmm.
this is what we're looking at. This is where we're going. This is how it's supposed to look when you do content for a team on a high level. So that would be kind of the collective right there. Just off the head.
Hmm.
Apologize if I'm forgetting anybody.
No.
I love you. Anybody that's helped.
Hey, yeah, I understand. You just gave your Academy Award speech. Oh, if I forgot anybody, I
I
got
feel
you. I
bad. I know
got
I'm gonna forget somebody.
no. I think they all know. Trust me, we all know so and love you. So thank you. So.
And you've been a great guy too. You've reached out to me numerous times, even really before I had my platform that I have now. You reached out to me. We've been on shows together.
Hmm.
You've always been supportive, and this is the other side of it, right? So when you do content, you put a lot of work in it, and let's just say Tommy's takes, and it's time to drop the episode, right? You always get that feeling like, are people gonna watch it? Am I going to
Hmm.
be in that live chat by myself? Is anybody going to comment? Not that you
Hmm.
need that, like, you don't need that self fulfillment, but the reason we do content, right, is because we want to share it and we want to
Hmm.
engage with the fan base. So when someone like you comes in the comments, drops a good comment, positive comment for me, back when the show was just getting started, like little things like that mean a lot. Little things like that go a long way. So that was big for me too.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I mean, and it's not hard, man. You do some great work. So, and it's easy to show appreciation to someone who's doing great content and giving great information. And in its essence, you're helping your audience be smarter. So if you're giving them information about the game that's coming up or after the game, some people who are casual fans are
Sure.
going to take that information that you're giving and they're going to be able to watch the game and be smart, because that's my biggest thing. It's teaching those who it's not teaching those who already know the game. I mean, I've done that for 20 years. I did minor league, semi-pro, taught guys
Absolutely.
who even were in the NFL, so I get it. But it's those who, especially women, I'm going to be honest, especially women and young kids who are just getting into the game, and you help them be smarter. Because that's why anyone who ever asks me, well, coach, what would you do in this situation? I always say, what's the down and distance? That's the
Right.
first thing out of my mouth. Then I go, well, where are they at on the field? So so it's I get where you're going. So it's a beautiful thing, and I commend you for that. So
Thank you, brother.
what are your long term goals or and aspirations? Through being a content creator.
Yeah, so that's a good question, and that's a question that makes me think and makes me wonder. You know, when you get into something quickly and it just kind of happens and it just kind of develops, I don't know if you really have long-term goals right away, but it is something that I have thought about because let's be
Hmm.
honest, you know, a lot of work goes into this, and you know, that's why shout out to a lot of content creators out there. Most of us content creators really don't get paid anything. We're just doing it
Hmm.
for the love of the game. We're doing it to
Hmm.
engage with an amazing, passionate fan base, but it does take a lot of time, and it is a process, right? So you know,
Hmm.
for me, if I had to say, okay, this is my goal, this is what I want to do, I would love to have a syndicated show,
Hmm.
whether that's on TV, whether that's on the radio, doesn't matter to me as long as I could talk sports. But I would love to have a broader audience that I can engage with, impact, that
Hmm.
I could share the love of the game with.
Okay, that's a beautiful thing, and hopefully, the doorways will open, and you'll be able to do that soon. So,
God willing.
as far as you know, has your platform been an inspiration to other aspiring content creators?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one thing about doing this is an amazing community. Like,
Hmm.
listen, you have your negatives. Everywhere you go, you're gonna have negatives. You're gonna have haters. You're gonna have naysayers. But in this Giants, you know, fan, content creator, analysis community, there's some amazing people out there, and there's a lot of younger people out there that want to do content. You know, so I've had a couple of young people that I've kind of mentored on the side, guided them, tried to inspire them through my work. That's been huge for me. You know, as far as like, you know, anybody same age, you know, higher, further along in the process, you know, it's a competitive realm too. Let's be honest, right? It's competitive.
Hmm.
You know, we're grown men. We love the game. We want to talk football. So it's a competitive realm. So I don't, you know, I don't really hear a lot of that from my peers. Like, you know,
Hmm.
that you know whether you inspire me or anything like that. But I will say I have a couple of young cats that I'm kind of trying to teach the game, that are inspired by what I've done, that have kind of came up with me and seen my you know, my progressions through this. And I would say those are the ones I'm most focused on inspiring. And you know, the younger generation, the ones I was talking to earlier, where people are going to
Hmm.
tell you you can't, tweeting is not content. If nobody's watching your YouTube, that's not content. That's BS.
Hmm.
That's BS. Because what you're doing this whole time is
Hmm.
just sharpening your knife, man. You're sharpening it. You get better. Yeah, there may be zero people in your live chat now. There may be one person next month. But as long as you keep getting better and you keep
Hmm.
sharpening your skill, before you know
Hmm.
it, you'll have people in that live chat. So that's kind of what I've been trying to show them.
I'll say this one thing to you: you do have one older person who you inspire. You're talking to him right now, so don't think that you don't have an older person
Thank you,
who.
brother. That means a lot to me. It really does.
So I'm there with you. So, um,
Likewise.
thank you, brother. What are some important lessons that you've taken from sports, and do you feel that they've contributed to your life outside of sports itself?
Yeah, I mean, what don't we take from sports in life, right? Yeah, sports teaches you everything, right? But if I had to name one thing, never
Mhm.
giving up. And and,
Mm.
and right when you feel like you want to give up, that's
Mhm.
usually right before you're about to make a breakthrough. That's usually right when you're
Mhm.
at that level to where you say, "Yes, I did it. I made it. I got through that." So that's been the strong, you know, going to football camp, 98-degree weather, you know, being really
Mhm.
heavy set, you know, running laps, running sprints, suicides, whatever it was, doing, you know, Oklahoma drills, you know, getting laid
Mhm.
out, whatever it was, you never quit. The coach always said, "Get up, get off your side, get off your ass, whatever it was, get ready for the next drill." And that's life, right, man? You're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna get put down.
Mhm.
You're gonna
Mhm.
have people that naysayers, negative people, people that get in front of you and the people you want to talk to. But you got to keep pushing through because right when you're about to quit, I'm telling you that breakthrough is right behind that.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. Thank you, man. Okay. Now, if people or any businesses they want to get in contact with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so I run a podcast on the Giants Country YouTube twice a week. It's called
Mhm.
Tommy Stakes. I do that every Monday, Thursday. That's my main show. That's my main platform. If you want to reach me, my email is tommystakesny@gmail.com.
Mhm.
Anybody wants to reach out to me there. Also, I'm on Twitter, TommyG105. Tommy
Mhm.
Stakes, the show is also on Spotify. So email is usually the best, or you could DM me on Twitter. Hop in my
Mhm.
comments on Twitter if I don't read your DM. You know, I'm always open to talk, chat. Don't have to be about just business either. If you want to chat, you want to talk football, you want advice, you're younger, you're trying to get in the game, whatever it is, like, I'm always here. The community is the most important part to me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, in closing, is there anything else that you want the people to know about Tommy G?
Yeah. I want them to know that when it comes to creating content, giving my analysis, engaging with fans, being that person you watch, like I said earlier in the show, does mean a lot to me. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I don't take it lightly. It's a huge responsibility for me to sit here and just know that hard work is behind that. And I appreciate all the support out there. I appreciate everybody along the way that's had my back. I appreciate all the fans that comment, retweet, watch the show. We're still trying to grow the show. As everybody out there knows, YouTube is very tough to grow. Just because you got 10,000 followers on Twitter, that's a completely different audience on YouTube. So we're still trying to grow that platform. But just know I'm passionate. I love the game. I do research. I'm a student of the game. And my sole goal is to connect with fans, give you some knowledge if you need it, be here to talk if you need it, and just be that guy to represent for the Giants creators, Giants in general, and for everybody that just wants to get out there and make something.
All right, man. Well, Tommy, I thank you for this, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. I can't thank you enough, man. So
thank you.
And to the audience, thank you. I hope you got something from Tommy. Make sure you guys go out there, follow him, subscribe, hit the notification. Make sure you guys like his episodes and share on all social media platforms that help him continue to grow. So thank you all for tuning into this interview. So we're going to take a break and I'll be back for more. And you know what I say in sports, make sure you turn it on and turn it up.